Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Citadel Forged with Fire released a brand new update today for console June 23, 2020. This is the third major update they've had since the launch of the game back in November. And I just firstly want to say I'm really glad that the developers keep improving the game and also adding new content. That's a little loading patch right there. Don't worry, your screen didn't freeze. But anyway, I just want to touch on a few points, and then at the end I'll post all the screenshots of the particulars. But let's get started. So very first thing you see here is that the fast travel points are now marked on the map. Like, you can actually see them, and they're safe zones. So they're like PvP free zones, kind of like the major cities. And so I was TPing out here because there used to be a turrets on this particular tower. I think it got wiped though by our allies. But anyway, really cool thing. They needed that, like, because you could put turrets on a fast travel point. It kind of sucked. Anyway, so the next thing I want to talk about is they increased the amount of mana and health you get in the starting cities from the mana and health pools, which is nice because honestly, if I'm just out doing something or scouting, I'll pop in here just to get free mana or health if I need to go AFK or something real quick. And it's kind of nice that it goes double fast now, so that's kind of cool. The next thing, major thing, I'm not going across everything, but the next major thing I want to talk about is that they've added a couple of new things, and they've changed a couple of new things. So one of the things they added is they have armored saddles for your creatures now, which is kind of cool. We'll have to see how that works for like tanky creatures. Are you going to be able to drop a tanky creature on someone's base to like start draining their mana generators? That would be kind of cool. And then in addition, is it going to make creatures viable for endgame PvP? Because as of before this patch, like even phoenixes, you could shred them pretty easily, tamed phoenixes. So we'll see. Another thing is they've changed the trinkets, so there's no longer a swap for the trinkets. You basically have a trinket slot and a flight trinket slot, and they kind of play together, so it's kind of nice. It's one less binding. You don't have to switch between trinkets. I am in such the habit of switching that it's gonna take a minute for me to get used to it. But like, you can have a mana ring on and your flight trinket at the same time, and you'll have the mana ring going while you're flying, and it offsets the amount of mana that it costs to fly. It's kind of nice. And if you wanted to add crit or whatever it is, you could do that. Also, flight trinkets now can have 2 magic properties, and I'm clearing out my mystical conjurers so that I can see if maybe now that there's the new patch, maybe we'll get those flight trinkets with 2 magical properties. Because honestly, I get the best dark flights out of the mystical conjurers, not even from crafting. It's kind of crazy. But anyway, on to the next major thing for this patch. For a lot of people, I know they're excited. There's a new dungeon, endgame dungeon. Overall, the dungeons they're pretty neat, and they're not super unique. They're not, gonna blow you away, but they're cool. It's a nice change of pace for the game, and they do feel kind of more like dungeons than maybe the caves do. And so they released a new dungeon, and what I thought was interesting about this dungeon is not that I couldn't find it at first, but I'll tell you in a second what I thought was interesting. But I know some people are excited about this. We'll have to see. All the coolest looking gear does come out of the dungeons, so all that end game, like really cool, like ghost flame gear comes out of the dungeons. And as soon as I find it here on the video, I pre-recorded this, and I thought this was kind of funny that I was having trouble finding it. But anyway, so what's kind of cool about this dungeon is that, the other dungeons, there is a quest to unlock them. This one's kind of cool. It seems more lore-y. So, lore driven. There we go. But anyway, so that's kind of neat. So I think those are the major things. There's a lot of smaller changes they made, and I guess if you want to stick around, I'll read through those just through the screenshot quickly. All the screenshots that I have. Very quickly, I forgot to mention, I'm adding this in after I finish the video. Something that wasn't in the patch notes, on console, you can now type in global chat It's a little bit wonky if you have an actual keyboard, but if you're using your in-game Xbox or PS4 keyboard, it works pretty well. So that's a huge game changer. So just really excited for that. Again, I do want to say, I just think it's really nice that the developers are still releasing new content for this game. So, obviously, we talked about the 4th dungeon. New creatures. I actually haven't explored to see what the new creatures are yet, so I'll have to go check that out. New main mastery quest line. I talked about this last time. Man, I started the quest line. I got stuck on where they wanted you to tame all these creatures. I was like, I'm not about to do this. Honestly, to me, it's not fun having to go find stupid things and tame them just to kill them. I don't know. To me, that was kind of dumb. Anyway, but I might check this out because it's got some new things in it that maybe I do want to see. New mastery side quests, provide appropriate resource and XP incentives for players. Endgame, very tricky endgame stuff for players. That is kind of frustrating. I know that's not really in depth, but anyway, new world mutant creatures, so like mutations of current creatures in the world, so that's going to be cool. Player portals, a one-way teleportation to unlocked towers. Like, I'm not totally sure about that. I probably need to investigate it, but that seems kind of neat. And then, of course, the armored saddles, which I showed already. Tiered rift treasures. I haven't seen a rift yet, but I'm definitely going to check that out. The rewards have been reworked to provide more appropriate regional options for players of all levels. I'm guessing like the harder the area you're in, the better the rewards are going to be. I'm assuming. I haven't checked it out yet. New mastery trinkets. I looked through the trinkets tab. I didn't see any new trinkets, so I'm guessing you have to get these as loot. Maybe it's from killing like world bosses or something. I'm not sure. New player buildable, customizable text sign structures. So that'll be cool. I'll have to check that out. New player dances and emotes. Cool. New door toggling structure piece. Opens or closes all connected doors. I didn't know about that. Need to check it out. Need to play with that. Extension to some caves. Placing special resources in boss cave where players can't block them. I don't know what that means, but I'm guessing special resources where player. I don't know what that means. Anyway, because you can't build in the caves, so I'm not sure what that means. Anyway, new additional armor stat intended to provide more flavor and flexibility to armor crafting systems. I guess I'm gonna have to craft some armor to see what that's all about. New additional armor stat. Okay, we just said that. Player trinkets divided into 2 classes, flight, non-flight. I talked about that. You can use them simultaneously. And then there's more to that, and I think it's later in the notes. I don't know why it's right next to it. But balance and gameplay adjustments. 3 tiers of mana deflection for the obelisks of protection, warding obelisk based on upgrade level. I'll have to look into that as well. Adjusted egg recipe. Collision is now disabled on open door meshes, allowing easier player and NPC navigation. I'm guessing that's when you open a door and like you can get stuck behind the door, I'm assuming. So I'll have to check that out. Double regeneration, we talked about that. Triple regeneration speeds for environmental health and mana pools. I forgot to mention that. So just the regular mana and health pools in the world have triple regeneration, which should be that way since you're out in the open world and it's risky. It's not safe like in the hometown. Aligning sacrifice spell energy with atonement for 3 times cast duration. So I guess it costs less spell energy for atonement. I'm guessing that's what it sounds like. Okay. Hierarchical recipe tweaks for tier 2 arcane and fire turrets. It's funny how they refer to them as turrets in the patch notes, but they're arcane obelisks and flame obelisks. But anyway, so hopefully cheaper, unless they made tier 2 more expensive, which would kind of suck because they still have the issue where it takes them a moment to actually start firing. So we'll have to see. Adjusted recipe for Nexus Stone. We talked about that last time. Hopefully it's for less because this shit was way too expensive. Anyway, multiple tweaks to crypt boss combat system. Okay, and so this is the part about the flight trinkets. The mana cost has been tweaked to provide, etc., etc. Basically, what it is, flight trinkets now have a chance to roll an extra mana stat, which was the 2 the 2 magic properties. But so what happens with the new rework is that if you have a mana trinket on with your broom, then flight is actually going to cost less to fly. If you have a damage, health regen, crit, armor with your broom or flight trinket, then it's going to cost you more to fly. And that makes sense because you're getting some sort of additional armor stat that's going to benefit you in combat. Whereas, yes, the mana regen is going to benefit you, but it's mainly just being used to help you sustain flight. Anyway, a couple of minor tweaks to aesthetics, and I guess minor tweaks to crit bonus damage. So cool things. We'll have to check it out. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you're playing it. Like, subscribe, and until next time, thanks for watching.